guys, and welcome back to another video. I hope that you are doing amazing. Today's video is going to be an educational one, but it is also a very interesting and fun one because we are going to be diving in to color correcting. Now here I have a little palette that I'll be using today with all of the main colors. I'll show you guys how I use this to literally cover up any acne scars that I have. I don't really have many, but when I do, I use this. But also how we even out the pigmentation and darker spots on the face. Like for me, that is around the mouth. So literally just using one product will go into what each color helps do and just learn a little bit more about makeup techniques that have been around forever, but we probably just didn't know how to use it. So if you would like to see how I use this to be able to perfect my face base, well then just keep on watching. Pulled the bangs back with this humongous headband that I love, and let's just dive on in. I am going to be using this palette specifically. This is from SheGlam, their Multi-Fix Concealer and Color Corrector. I'll also link down below other palettes similar to this. I know NYX has one and quite a few brands have a lot of them. We probably always see them, at least I know I do, and I'm just like, what am I going to use these colors for? So quickly, just to give a simple summary of what they each do, just think of the color wheel and literally using the color opposite to what is on your face to counteract or eliminate. I know I just said a lot right there, but I'll give you an example. The first one will go with anything green. Now with green, you would want to use that for anything red on the face. So that would be for any of you guys that have a lot of redness, rosacea, anything like that, to just be able to counteract it. Think, if you put the opposite color, it'll give it a balanced look. And when you put your foundation over top, you won't have that red peeking through because that green base is already counteracting the pigmentation of it. Moving on over to purple, purple will counteract anything that is yellow or orangey. So if you have any dull yellow pigmented spots on your face that you might want to counteract or eliminate, purple would be amazing for. As you can see, these 4 shades are the ones that I use the absolute most, and that works just so well for my skin tone. I am medium skin tone with yellow olive undertones. So I use a mix of these 2 colors to just be able to counteract any purple or blue lines. So typically you would find that right in the under eye, so you can see that right on in there. And this is also good to be able to even out or balance uneven skin tone. So like I mentioned in the intro of it, around the mouth, I know a lot of women have this area right here that does get a little darker, and even just the chins. Our faces overall are not the same color, so darker spots that you want to just be able to even out with the rest, these 2 colors are really good for. So you have this like beautiful salmon color that you can put to be able to counteract. And if you need to go a bit richer, which I would say this color is perfect for medium to dark skin tones, you can use that one. And I like that this one has both because I can kind of just like lighten it or deepen it to my liking. Then we have these 2 colors, and this color I use so much, and it's so crazy because it looks really deep in here, but and I'll show you guys, it literally blends into the same color as my skin. So I do like to add just a little bit of that yellow. Yellow is going to help brighten. The salmon can also do the same. So based on your undertone and also depending on the color that your veins pull, you can use either that salmon color or the yellow. So that's kind of just like an overall like basics one-on-one for the everyday girl explanation of how to be able to use this. Of course, like professional makeup artists will go way more in depth because there is a color theory, a color science behind all of it that just makes it make sense. But for the everyday girl, you just need to know which of these colors you need to use for your face. So I'll be using my face obviously as an example just to be able to show you guys what I'm going to do. Skin is moisturized and we're gonna hop right on in. So we're gonna begin with the green color because I wanna apply that directly on to the acne scars that I have. I have one right on here on my forehead and we have one on the side. So I'm gonna just take a little tiny bit of it. I would say because these are colors, they are very pigmented, so you don't really need to go in heavy-handed. They go a long way, and I feel like this formula is also really good in doing that. So I'm literally just going to be tapping it on the spot that I want that coverage. That way, when we apply the foundation, the spot has already been concealed and covered because the opposing color is helping cancel out that scar underneath. Moving on, the other concern that I have on my face is going to be around the mouth. As you can see, I have these darker marks right on in here, and when I wear foundation, it always peeks through. So I've been very intrigued by using this to try and see how to counteract that. Jackie Aina has always used the orange around her mouth to just be able to get rid of the discoloration, so I do want to try this as well. I'm going to take the palette and we're gonna mix mostly this orange and then just take a little bit of the other. I'm gonna just dab some off on my hand because, like I mentioned, I do not want to over apply. I just want enough product to do the job. So I'm just gonna place this right around here, and I'll look at myself there, look at myself in the mirror, go back to the hand to just pick up some more of that orange, and we will continue to dab it on over. For medium and deeper skin tones, the orange itself is just such a good color to be able to do that, and you can always lighten it up with this salmon color that you have there on the side. So just gonna do that same thing to the other side. Now on this side, I do just want to show you guys, I have a vein that is very obvious and has been just peeking through throughout the years. So given that it leans more on the green and blue side, orange is still on the opposite side of the color wheel. So we're gonna take this as well and just dab it right on top to just help eliminate the boldness of that color. So as you can see, we have that. You can also just take it around the mouth if you want. You really can customize to whatever it is that you want. Now the last color that I want to dive into is going to be these two right in here. Mostly this deeper color to just be able to use to conceal the under eye, and a little tiny bit of that yellow. The yellow is meant to help brighten, which of course we always want to just be able to brighten. I'm taking that on my hand. Like I said, and we'll continue to just repeat, it is better to go with less and then build up, because these are very pigmented creams, so you don't really need that much. It'll also help avoid creasing as you wear it throughout the time. But as you can see, look, it is literally helping so much with covering up the dark circles, and this will also just help you not have to use as much concealer as you typically would because you're trying to cover up the dark circles. So it's one of the things that I really love about the color correcting. It really does eliminate so many of the concerns that you would want your traditional makeup to take care of, but this one product literally does it all, and then you can just go about putting everything else and not needing to use as much. They also have a darker shade range. I think this is the light. This is color Macaroon. So they have a few other ones that lean like for middle, for darker skin complexions, which I thought was amazing because it gives everybody the opportunity to be able to color correct according to their skin tone, but also their undertones. Now with whatever's left there, I'm just gonna go over the green just to like dull it down a little bit, because I don't want the green to stand out when I put the foundation, and it is very pigmented. So like I said, taking that, maybe even taking a bit of that brown, I'm just gonna pop it over on top just to help cover that up. Now the last thing that I'm also just gonna do is use this as a eye primer, and literally once again with what is left, we're just gonna run that through to help eliminate those veins and discoloration and just prep that for the eyeshadow. All right, so that's gonna be it for the color correcting. We're now gonna jump on into the foundation portion. I'm gonna be using the Haus Labs Skin Tech foundation, literally one of my favorites. I'm just gonna use one pump and just place the foundation where I would as normal. Now I definitely want to make sure I'm emphasizing this around the mouth just so that we get good coverage there, but also to just ensure that that orange isn't peeking through once we start to blend the foundation. So I still have like about half left. I'm gonna take my foundation brush and we're going to just start to apply the foundation over the face. Now I am just going in a pressing motion because I don't want to move all of that underneath, and just taking the time to make sure that the foundation is spread out across the face and that those color correcting colors that we place do not peek through. I'm actually gonna take off my lip gloss, which by the way has been one of my favorites lately, and it is the Fenty Heat in the color Hot Chocolate Heat. It is so good. You literally don't need to put anything on your lip and it gives it such a beautiful pigmented color. Now going in with the sponge, as usual, we're literally repeating the same thing that we would typically do if we were just doing foundation. But let's just look at that base so that we can see that we now no longer see that vein popping through as we typically always would. And it's, for me, this around the mouth. Like, I would typically always have the darkness peeking through, and this has been complete game changer for me. This is what the base is looking like with just foundation after we have color corrected. You can still see here and there, but definitely not as intense and pigmented as it was before. But for me, like I've mentioned, it's this part around the mouth that is just like spectacular. Also, this foundation I like to use more as medium coverage versus full, so you can always add more if you want to just completely cover it up. So I do have literally almost like half of that pump still left, so I'm just gonna take it and apply it directly over the acne scar and right on this side, and we'll blend it out just to see if we can build a little bit of that coverage up. But me personally, I am totally content with the coverage that it is giving. We haven't applied concealer yet, so that is what the base is looking like. For concealer, we're gonna go in with the Zara one, and this one is actually one that I've really been enjoying. It's their Luminous Creamy Concealer. Let me know if you guys would be interested in a dedicated video to Zara Beauty, because I have their foundation, I have their concealer, some of their face products, and I honestly was pleasantly surprised by it. So let me know if you would be interested in wanting to see a video on that. So I'm just gonna take the concealer and apply as I would, but not necessarily needing to apply as much as I would typically put, because we already have that color corrector underneath. Using my concealer blending brush, we're just gonna blend that into the skin, and we are looking nice and dewy and luminous. Obviously, we haven't used powders to set. We'll do all of that. I'll do the rest of my face, and we'll come back when the face is complete, just so that you guys can see what that looks like. But honestly, if you haven't tried a color correcting palette and you have a lot of like discoloration or unevenness or maybe even redness or just a skin concern that you're just like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do when it comes to trying to cover this up. You've tried all foundations, you've tried concealer, definitely would suggest looking into a color correcting palette, playing around with all the different colors, because I've had these things before. I just didn't know how to use them, and then I started to just watch videos and research how makeup artists use it, and just looking at it from the artistic color wheel approach, and I'm like, oh my god, this makes so much sense. Like, it's literally using the opposite color to cancel whatever concern that is. So that's really all you have to think about. So if it's redness, make sure you're using the green. If it's any blue or green, make sure you're using the orange or that salmon color. If you want to brighten, make sure you use the yellow. And if you want to reduce any dullness or yellowness, use the purples. I am going to do the rest of the face, but this is just where we are right now. Of course, makeup is not complete, so we're still not looking like 100%, but this is the base and literally perfection. We also didn't even use primer, which is a whole other thing that helps with pore filling. But when it comes to the color correcting, highly recommend it. We have completed the rest of the look. We have this beautiful berry eye going on using this palette made by Mitchell. I did make a dedicated video to some products from the brand, so definitely keep an eye out for that. But this is what we're looking like. We have the powder, all of the products that we would typically apply over top, and I am just completely in love with how it looks. Now, we can still see some of those little marks peeking through, and like I said, I didn't use a full coverage foundation, so it wouldn't necessarily fully cover it, but to me that it's totally okay. But using those color correcting creams have really helped to just minimize the intensity of those colors, so you can always pack more on or just adjust to whatever is the concern on your face. But for me, where I see the biggest difference is in the discoloration around the mouth, because that would peek through and I would just see it and I'm like, oh my goodness, nothing is helping with that. And as you can see, let me just lower it a bit because I do have a light right here which casts its own shadow, but it literally neutralized all of that, and so the face looks pretty balanced and even, so that then when I apply the contour and the bronzer and the blush and all of that good stuff, it has a beautiful even base to be applied on. All right guys, well that concludes this video. I'll be sure to be linking down the product that I used below. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. I appreciate you, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.